Have you ever been talking to a woman and noticed that she suddenly starts touching certain things while she's around you? Maybe she adjusts her hair. Maybe she touches her necklace. Maybe she fixes her clothes, touches her face, or starts playing with something in her hands. At first, these little movements might seem completely meaningless, but sometimes the smallest behaviors can reveal something about how a person feels. Now, before we begin, there's something important you need to understand. No single gesture can prove that a woman is attracted to you. A woman might touch her hair because she always does it. She might touch her necklace because it's uncomfortable. She might adjust her clothes because they're not sitting correctly. That's why you should never look at one movement and immediately assume she likes me. Instead, you need to look at the entire pattern. Because when several behaviors happen together, especially when her behavior noticeably changes around you, things become much more interesting. So let's look at 8 things a woman may touch or adjust in front of you when she feels attraction, nervous excitement, or emotional interest. The first one is probably the most obvious: her hair. You may notice a woman running her fingers through her hair, moving it behind her ear, playing with a strand, fixing her hairstyle, or repeatedly adjusting the way her hair looks. Why does this happen? Because hair is strongly connected to appearance. When someone becomes more conscious of how they look around another person, they may naturally start adjusting themselves. Think about it. Have you ever unexpectedly seen someone you really wanted to impress? Suddenly, you might fix your shirt, you might adjust your hair, you might straighten your posture. You probably don't even think about doing it. It happens automatically. The same thing can happen to a woman. If she normally doesn't touch her hair very much, but suddenly starts doing it whenever you're talking to her, that's something worth noticing, especially if it's happening together with other behaviors. Maybe she touches her hair while maintaining eye contact. Maybe she smiles more than usual. Maybe she laughs at things that aren't even particularly funny. Maybe she keeps the conversation going even when she could easily leave. The hair itself doesn't prove anything, but the pattern might tell you something. The second thing is her necklace or jewelry. You might notice her touching her necklace, adjusting her earrings, rotating a ring around her finger, or playing with a bracelet while she's talking to you. Again, this doesn't automatically mean attraction. Jewelry can simply be something people touch when they're thinking or nervous. But nervousness can become interesting when you look at the context. Imagine you're having a conversation with a woman. She's relaxed at first. Then you say something personal or make her laugh. She suddenly touches her necklace. She smiles. She looks directly at you. Then she continues the conversation. A few minutes later, she does it again. That could indicate that she's experiencing some nervous energy. People often use small, repetitive movements to release tension. That's why you'll sometimes see someone tapping their fingers, touching an object, fixing their clothes, or playing with jewelry when they're emotionally stimulated. The important thing is not to assume that nervousness automatically means attraction. It doesn't. Someone can be nervous because they're uncomfortable. But if the nervousness comes with positive engagement, smiling, eye contact, curiosity, and a desire to continue interacting with you, then it becomes more interesting. The third thing is her face. You might notice her touching her cheek, chin, jaw, or the area around her face while she's talking to you. Facial touching is extremely common. People touch their faces when they're nervous, thinking, embarrassed, tired, or simply comfortable. So once again, the gesture itself isn't enough. What matters is the change. If she normally doesn't touch her face much, but suddenly starts doing it around you, that may indicate that she's becoming more self-conscious. Maybe she's aware that you're looking at her. Maybe she's thinking about how she appears to you. Maybe she's simply nervous because she cares about the interaction. But don't make the mistake of believing that touching the lips automatically has a sexual meaning. That's an exaggerated interpretation. Body language isn't a secret code where every movement has one specific translation. The same gesture can have completely different meanings depending on the person and situation. That's why you should always consider the bigger picture. Does she maintain eye contact? Does she smile?